Ace of Spades here, welcome to Goblin-Inc. With no cost of entry, no need for gear, no need for a developed atlas, and with about 20 exalt profit per map, farming essences is one of the best strategies to farm in the game, not because it's the best, but because it's the most accessible, in my opinion. Let's get into it. I'm gonna tell you how to do it, and then I will go through my notes on why it is this way. It might seem weird, but I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to start by telling you the strategy, and then we'll talk about why it ended up being this way. What you want to do is run as many crystal tablets as you can, making all your maps into boss maps and increase how many additional essence mobs you're going to find in each of your maps. There's going to be only one different tablet. You're going to irradiate your atlas, irradiate your maps in your center tower. So in this case, this is my center tower, right? I have one here, one here, one here. So from here, I would irradiate all the maps around. This doesn't do anything other than making your maps level 80, which I think is always something you should be doing. It's not gonna increase how many essences you're gonna get per mob or how many essence mobs you're gonna get. But it is gonna be more XP and more money regardless, because you're running higher level content. In terms of atlas, only thing you need to care about is getting to here, ecological shift. You want ecological shift, and you want to make sure that you get energetic resonance with physical attack, speed, chaos modifiers. You want to make sure that you get harmonic corruption. Here, nothing else matters. Interesting, right? A very basic strategy to farm. In the end, you're gonna be looking for a place like this where you get a bunch of towers nearby, and they don't have to be very close. You just want to get as many bosses as you can, and then, you know, you get 7, 8, 9, 10 extra essence mobs per map. You don't need item rarity, you don't need item quantity, you don't need anything other than your Val Orbs. That's it. You would Val Orb every one of those essence mobs you're gonna find. You can get as many tablets with additional essence mobs. Don't care about anything. Item rarity, quality, quantity, rare monsters. Don't care about chance for essence monsters to appear in your map. Don't care about anything like that. Let's get into it on the why we're doing this craziness. So I wanted to test whether item quantity, item rarity, rare monster chance, how many rare, the rare monster modifier on maps. I wanted to test if different map levels worked. Tier 1 maps, tier 16 maps plus irradiated. And I wanted to know what things in the atlas worked, right? So for example, how about 20% chance for double tablet to work? What are we talking about here? Are we gonna get sometimes 14? I mean, if I can get 9 extra essence mobs per map easily. So what about, am I gonna get 18 sometimes more because I have the 8%, 8%, 8%, 8%? The answer is no. It doesn't do anything. That's why I'm saying you don't really need to care about it. The reason why I am running it and why I'm running Waystone modifier and things like that, it's simply because you're killing a lot of rare monsters. So sometimes, if you have high item rarity, you're gonna get divine. But overall, the bulk of the money you should be making should be from essences. So if you're a beginner player with not a developed atlas, no item rarity in your gear, and you don't have the resources to get rarity on every one of your maps, it doesn't really matter that much. So now we know that quantity doesn't do anything to increase the amount of essences you're gonna get. Rarity, item rarity doesn't do, and how many rare monsters you're gonna get also doesn't do anything. Even this talent here that you might think works, 40% more chance to contain random extra content, that doesn't do anything in terms of how many essence mobs you're gonna get. Because I've tested with different atlases, right? With the talent on and off, and it didn't change how many essence mobs. But interestingly, if you take it off, I would get a lot less essences per essence mob. So my average would go from like 2.2 something, 2.3, 2.4, down to, whenever I switch to a different atlas, to 1.35 in that case. very weird behavior, considering that that's not what the talent seems to do. It says your maps have a 40% more chance to contain random extra content. I guess, I mean, in a way, it could be, but I don't really understand why it would do that. There is a small chance, very small chance, that getting your maps have a 40% increased chance to contain extra essence. So having just a little bit of increased the chance to contain extra essences affects how many essences you get, but even if you stack it with tablets and other things and waystones, it never gave me more than one extra mob per map. And generally speaking, you would still get one extra average from just having the 100% here and 40%, 40%, 40%. So getting more of that on tablets, it's not worth it, because you'd rather buy a tablet. So you pretty much don't care about what's on the tablet. You only care about it containing an additional essence, and maybe buy up to 3 bosses at least. So you don't really care about the other type of modifier you get here, so like rarity, quantity. And if you try to buy something with quantity or rare monsters, people will make you pay more. A lot more. It can be like 8, 9 extra exalts per tablet, and it's really not worth it. Especially for beginner players. Just get the cheapest tablets that give you 1 extra essence mob per map. Of course, I said that you don't need any Atlas points pretty much, and you don't need to well, the additional essence from the boss Atlas is nice, not mandatory. I would say that's the only extra thing. Nothing here matters. You don't have to fight any pinnacle bosses. That's kind of sweet. For an entry-level strategy, that gives you about 20 exalt profit per hour. A lot of the profit for me came from items, actually from bosses that, because running so many bosses, they will drop items with higher tier stats on them. If you don't know what it is, it's visible. You can see a number near the item, and those items are worth picking up because they roll always at least that tier of stat, and you get weapons. They can be pretty expensive. So those are my findings, that pretty much item quantity, rarity, and monster doesn't do anything. That map tier doesn't do anything. Val Orb is always worth using in every case, but I never once gotten a greater essence to turn into a tormented essence. So the highest tier, the one that really makes you good money, never once I was able to vol one of them and get it. Crazy. Of course, I evolved a lot of normal essences into greater essences, and that's good, and oftentimes you get more essences. You val a mob and it will get an extra essence from it, so that's always nice. Definitely worth to val everything, as it costs, I believe it's 4 val orbs for 1 exalt, so definitely mega worth it to do it. And I don't think I got unlucky. I just think those tormented essences are silly rare. It's a good farming method for how many things don't really seem to work, and how rare getting those new essences are. Never seen a single one, even though I farmed it for 2 days efficiently. Kinda crazy. So to recap, 1 tablet to irradiate everything, as many tablets as possible with 1+ essence on boss maps. You don't care about increased chance for rare quantity items, doesn't increase how many essences or how many essence mobs you get. Vol everything. Get 100% chaos, speed, physical increase on your Atlas. Get ecological shift. And yeah, run tier 15 maps irradiated, so it's level 80 mobs, and it's nice. And it's about 20 exalt profit, even without finding the expensive essences and pretty much only selling the greater essences. It's still good profit. You still get quite a bit of divines and good items just because you're killing a lot of extra rare enemies. So yeah, in the end, if you can be a little bit picky with your tablets, get item rarity, because well, you're getting more chance to get a divine, things like that, and the bosses also get better loot. So a little bit of item rarity and run maps with item rarity on it. Other than that, don't really care too much about it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys on the next video.